Welcome to the new format Digital Futures for 2015. Now we want to really get a proper conversation and debate going. So each episode, I'll be inviting two exciting, opinionated changemakers to join me right here. Now this time, I want to dive into that intense high-stakes world of venture capital. The role of VCs is shifting given the alternatives out there for funding. I also want to find out how much of these billion-dollar valuations are driven by hype. Let's cut straight to the chase and ask the two very credible influencers that I've roped in today. With me is Bindi, who leads Silicon Valley Bank's early-stage investments in Europe as their vice president. And my second guest is Michael Rolph, co-founder of the mobile payments and loyalty platform YoYo that is really on its way up. By the way, I love that name, Michael. It's very, very catchy.
Thank you.
So I want to open up the first question to you, Bindi. A buddy and I were chatting recently about a project we've seen on Kickstarter that's raised $13 million to date, and I believe it's their most popular one. Are venture capitalists looking to crowdfunding platforms to see what's really resonating with everyday consumers like you and I? Or is there a risk that what's really popular on these networks may not actually have business legs?
So I think the way a lot of VCs I've spoken to and how they look at it, I think they view it as a great customer development tool. So if something is up for £100,000 and then all of a sudden they're back to the tune of $1 million, that just shows, and it's an indicator of market demand. And that's a really good indication that this product is something that the consumers want.
Michael, YoYo has held its own in a market that's pretty saturated with early stage startups. You said to me off camera when we were chatting earlier that actually building the team has been a critical part of that journey. What else has contributed to YoYo's pretty stratospheric growth, but also what hasn't worked along the way?
With any startup, getting the right team members together is incredibly important. From our perspective, what we really focus on is execution. So having a great culture is one thing that we all like each other, but execution on two fronts against technology and against sales are what we've sort of put at the sort of core of the way we think. Some of the things that haven't worked is looking generally at the noise. You know, we very simply in our minds just cut out what everyone else is doing. We just focus on what we do.
So my next question is a little bit controversial, which we like, and it's for both of you. Every third 24-year-old that I'm talking to these days is a self-professed CTO or CEO of a startup. Now, it's a known fact that most startups die out within 20 months of their last financing round, which is pretty scary. Is being an entrepreneur really for everyone?
It's a great open time to become an entrepreneur, but not everyone is meant to become one. So I've actually seen a lot of companies that didn't work, but what has made it amazing is the people that didn't work in those companies actually went and joined another startup. And then the other comment I'd make is, it's actually not so bad working for a big corporate, because if you find the right innovation team, like Telefonica, I was at Microsoft and I would have classed myself as an intrapreneur.
Unfortunately, I'm not 24 anymore, so luckily
You're
I don't
not.
fall into that bracket. I know it's hard to believe, but no, I'm not, unfortunately. I think what's really important is that as an individual, you really reflect on what your skill set is, and that you don't let the ego get in the way of potential success.
A gift card startup recently raised $56 million on a valuation of $1 billion. What are these billion-dollar valuations based on? Are they sustainable? And how much of it is hype?
I think it's an element of both. I think looking at it from a US VC perspective, I believe it's really about the traction. So I'm not sure of the gift card startup you're talking in question, but they probably have an incredible amount of traction, number of cards given, I'm not sure what the revenue would be, but it really is about the volume going through, like number of transactions. And more often than not, you see a lot of US VCs giving those kind of valuations to the mass volume because they know that the revenues will follow when the millions and hundreds of millions of followers come or transactions come.
All right, well listen, I really enjoyed bantering with you guys today, so thanks for getting in my hot seat, and thank you for tuning in.